On the morning of November the 14th, 2004, 90 miles off the coast of California near San Diego, the Nimitz Carrier Strike Group was conducting routine training and aerial defense exercises. UFO craft would appear that forever changed all of those that encountered them.
August 15, 1977, the sound of extraterrestrials was detected for the first time by Big Ear radio telescope at the Ohio State University. In year 2014, the Polaris was the first human-built spaceship to use an atomic-powered engine to achieve constant acceleration. The spaceship, built in top secret and low Earth orbit, is carrying a team of members from the Section 51 on a one-way mission in deep space. The mission is to discover the origin of the mysterious repeating radio signals.
Section 51.
Section 51.
Hi everyone, what's up? I am GH aka DOZgeek back with Section 51. Really happy to be with you again. If you are fascinated by UFOs as I am, I'm sure you recently read this story on internet, the USS Nimitz UFO incident. This famous radar visual encounter of a UFO by US fighter pilots of the Nimitz Carrier Strike Group. More precisely, USS Nimitz UFO incident took place during November of 2004 when US fighter pilots encountered an unidentified flying object which later became known as tic-tac. In 2017, the footage of the occurrence was released to the public and became one of the most hotly discussed topics among ufologists and also debunkers, of course. Prior to the incident, early November 2004, the Ticonderoga class guided missile cruiser USS Princeton, part of Carrier Strike Group 11, had been tracking mysterious aircraft intermittently for 2 weeks on an advanced AN Spy 1B passive radar. Navy Chief Petty Officer Kevin Day, stationed on Princeton, recalls that he first noticed the clear radar traces of 8 to 10 objects around 10 November. They were traveling southwards in a loose tow fixed formation at 28,000 feet, around 8,500 meters, in the immediate vicinity of Catalina Island. He was startled by their slow speed of 100 knots, around 120 miles per hour, but received confirmation of their presence from radar operators on other vessels. Regular observations were made of a similar number of objects over the following 6 days. The objects were also faintly detected by an E-2C Hawk A plane after Princeton sent them coordinates. When the same event occurred again around 9:30 PST on 14 November 2004, an operations officer aboard Princeton contacted 2 airborne US Navy F-18 Super Hornets from USS Nimitz, flying a combat exercise at the time. The aircraft were 2-seat variants, and each pilot was accompanied by a weapon systems officer. The lead Super Hornet was piloted by Commander David Fravor, commanding officer of Strike Fighter Squadron 41. The second fighter flying as wingman included Lieutenant Commander Jim Slate as one of the 2 officers aboard. Princeton's radio operator, Kevin Day, directly instructed the pilots to change their course and investigate the unidentified radar spot observed by Princeton's own radar. This was done to determine if the objects posed any collision danger to an upcoming air defense exercise. A radio operator on Princeton, however, asked the pilots if they were carrying operational weapons, and the pilots replied that they were not. The weather conditions for that day showed excellent visibility with a blue sky, no cloud cover, and a calm sea. When the jet fighters arrived on site, the crew of 4 saw nothing in the air nor on their radar. On Princeton's radar, however, it was noticed that the object now dropped from 28,000 feet to near sea level in less than a second. As the pilots looked down at the sea, they noticed a turbulent oval area of churning water with foam and frozy waves the size of a Boeing 737 airplane, with a smoother area of lighter color at the center, as if the waves were breaking over something just under the surface. A few seconds later, they noticed an unusual object hovering with erratic movements 50 feet, around 15 meters, above the churning water. Both Fravor and Slate later described the object as a large, bright white tic-tac, 30 to 46 feet, 9 to 14 meters long, with no windshield, nor porthole, no wing, nor empennage, and no visible engine, nor exhaust plume. Fravor began a circular descent to approach the object. As Fravor further descended, he reported that the object began ascending along a curved path, maintaining some distance from the F-18, mirroring its trajectory in opposite circles. Fravor then made a more aggressive maneuver, plunging his fighter to aim below the object. But at this point, the UFO accelerated and went out of sight in less than 2 seconds, leaving the pilots pretty weirded out. Subsequently, the 2 fighter jets began a new course to the Combat Air Patrol rendezvous point. Within seconds, Princeton radioed the jets that the radar target had reappeared 60 miles, around 97 kilometers, away at this predetermined rendezvous point. According to popular mechanics, a physical object would have had to move greater than 2,400 miles per hour, around 3,900 kilometers per hour, to cover the distance in the reported time. 2 other jets went to investigate the new radar location, but by the time the Super Hornets arrived, the object had already disappeared. Both F-18s then returned to Nimitz. Commander Fravor reflected on his sighting.
I have no idea what I saw. It had no plumes, wings or rotors and outran our F-18s. But I want to fly one.
After the return of the first team to Nimitz, a second team took off at approximately 12 PST, this time equipped with an advanced infrared camera, FLIR pod. This camera recorded an evasive unidentified aerial system on video, publicly released by the Pentagon on December the 16th of 2017, alongside the revelation of the funding of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. This footage is known as the 2004 USS Nimitz FLIR-1 video. It officially shed some light on a decade-old story that was largely unknown. A second infrared footage, known as the gimbal video, has been released by the Pentagon alongside the 2004 FLIR-1 footage. Also, the media often present the 2 videos together to illustrate the 2004 USS Nimitz UFO incident. The gimbal video seems to be unrelated, filmed at the east coast of the United States at an unknown date. The first video itself does not offer a clear image due to the nature of the radar systems. However, there are several factors that make this case one of the most fascinating studies in the field. Firstly, the existence of an audio recording of pilots experiencing the visual contact the object. Secondly, interview given by one of the pilots. And thirdly, a report was done by Washington Post about Department of Defense operations to analyze the sighting and was later confirmed by the Pentagon itself, giving the sighting more legitimacy. David Fravor, a Navy pilot with decades of experience, is the centerpiece of USS Nimitz UFO incident. His skepticism in the subject quickly evaporated when the training mission encountered something that could not be explained. Skeptics often explain such events by a secretive technology being tested, weather balloons, or unreliability of the witnesses. None of them applies to this eyewitness. Not only would he be aware of something that could be explained by our current technological capabilities, but also the routine nature of their training operations would make the area unsuitable for any testing by different military branches. This also makes him immune to the claims of him not being able to differentiate something as mundane as a weather balloon, natural occurrence, or mechanical dysfunction from UFO. One of the main reasons that caused the USS Nimitz UFO incident to be a fascinating study is its continuous nature. The encounter with tic-tac was not a one-off incident. The US Navy was following the unknown object for almost 2 weeks. At one point, over 8 objects were seen on the radar. This was not some sort of the glitch on a radar system of the single ship. This was an organized operation by a fleet of ships to track down an unknown intruder. The occurrence in which David Fravor took part in when he and several other pilots directly encountered the UFO was a culmination of the chase. However, even after that event, several anomalies on the ocean surface were seen. Some points looked disturbed as if something has been hovering over them. However, no further visual contact was made. What truly transpired during USS Nimitz UFO incident is debated till this day. Several things are known for certain. The US Navy fleet deemed the occurrence not worthy enough to initiate the chase, which lasted for 2 weeks. No one who took the part in it can give an explanation of what happened. In December 2017, infrared footage of the encounter was released to the public. The Nimitz event had the 5 observables. 1. Extreme maneuverability, well beyond the LCG force of anything biological. 2. Hypersonic velocities without signatures. 3. Low observability. 4. Transmedium travel. And 5. Positive lift or anti-gravity. Luis Elizondo, a former employee of the Office of the Under-Secretary of Defense for Intelligence, said the Defense Department was concerned with anything that was not readily identified by witnesses, radar, or other sensing technology. The famous USS Nimitz UFO event and video footage was just one example, he said, and added that there were other events that occurred like the Nimitz and not in the distant past. Elizondo also mentioned that reports from military witnesses included physical effects such as feelings of nausea or weird loss of time perception. Luis also confirmed that military hardware has been affected or disabled during UFO encounters. David Fravor, a veteran Navy pilot, was shaken by the incident and after 2 years retired from the Navy. He said that after his jet returned to the carrier, his description of the events were ridiculed by his colleagues. What showed up on US fleet's radars for 2 weeks and what managed to evade most sophisticated military in the world remains a mystery till this day. The incident was severely criticized by the debunkers and other searchers who tried to prove that it was finally a fake or a big hoax. They studied every second, every pixel on the video, just to demonstrate that the US Navy was manipulating or doing a bad joke to medias, even suggesting that David Fravor was a liar. So, according to debunkers, it would be a big hoax created by the US Navy or someone linked to the US Navy in order to minimize the UFO phenomenon. So in fact, it's the debunkers who are normally supposed to be anti-conspiracy theories who are caught up in their own contradictions by pretending now that the Navy lied in its official statements. That's becoming funny, no? Hey debunkers, why would the US Navy bother to fabricate these lies? All this false evidence, all these false statements. Why would an experienced US Navy pilot risk his career with such revelations? I try to understand. In fact, by searching every detail for flaws to refute a theory, a fact or a phenomenon, and I'm sure that one can always find something by searching well, we can end up denying the existence of everything and thus close ourselves to all freedom of thought. From a theoretical point of view, I think we can admit that everything, every element, or even every living being has a flaw, a weakness. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Each rule admits an exception that confirms it. And that's why I question the version of debunkers. In fact, I don't really have a theory, but I made a conscious choice not to close myself to certain ways of thought, to certain probabilities. I do not hold the truth, unlike others who have the arrogance to claim to hold it by saying that this is black or rather white, this is true or fake. No, everyone is free to think what he wants and to make his own path of research, discovery, experience. What's for sure is that crazy is the one who thinks he can know all the secrets of the universe just because he has a professional editing software or high degree in science. We have to learn to broaden our field of vision because the answers often come where you don't expect them. However, I think that the Nimitz incident is likely to make people discuss for a very long time because how can we know who holds the truth on this issue? We can only wait for the accumulation of testimony, evidence, official revelations over time to perhaps hope to have a bit of knowledge in this already vast field. I would be curious to know your opinion on the matter. What do you think of all this? What do you think of these official revelations? Are they true or false? What do you think of debunkers? The USS Nimitz incident is truly an incredible and strange story, and I was delighted to share it with you again. Maybe someday we'll have the big answer to all these unexplained phenomena. What's certain is that the truth is out there, somewhere, waiting to be revealed in broad daylight. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to Section 51. I'll be back really soon. Open your eyes, watch the sky. Live long and prosper.